Seen it. I want it up first before.
Yeah, I have seen it, Prof. I'm downloading it now.
So how can I get it? How can I so I can work? I can use it.
You will be able to share it from the platform.
Huh?
You'll be able to share it from the platform.
Okay.
Okay. Choma, you can start, and then
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, we're just trying to take care of some technicalities here. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, please write in the chat loud and clear, or just give me a thumbs up so that I'm sure I'm loud enough. You have to help me here with the feedbacks we're getting from the... Okay, so you can hear me?
Sorry, I'm having audio challenge around here.
Okay, so you can hear me?
Sorry, I'm having audio challenge around here.
Okay, I see hello, Chidube Makbu. Okay, so you can hear me very loud and clear. While we give some time to our speaker to come back online, we're having a little bit of technical challenge on his side. We're going to rectify this as soon as possible. I would go into the whole program, why we are here today, what we are doing, and how we are going to be able to run the seminar today. So first and foremost, this seminar is being organized by the Bridge Scholarship. The Bridge Scholarship is a scholarship that aims at giving access to education to the indigent and intelligent students in Africa in general. So this is what the Bridge Scholarship stands for. And in the past months, we have put out adverts for people to register who are interested to take part in this particular scholarship. And I'm happy to tell you, we had a lot of applications that flooded in. More than 1,200 applications. And we've been going through the interview processes. We've been going through the screening processes for this application. And at the moment, we have been able to shortlist 60 candidates who are successful. So please, if you are in the chat and you have participated in this particular application, go on the website to check if your name was shortlisted. Okay, so the shortlisting has been done. We shortlisted 60 persons. We're so sorry for the people who did not make it to the list, but try again next time. Most likely you might be lucky this time. And for the 60 persons who their names are there, don't forget to always check your emails because the interview will be scheduled between 16th and 17th of December. So check your emails, make sure you check your emails regularly to ensure you don't miss this information when it comes to you. So the interview generally is about getting to know you, getting more information about the whole process from you, and also you get also from us what is the expectation from our side, and we also get to hear from you what you expect from us. Okay, this is what we expect to have a one-on-one chat with you during the interview. So no stress, just take it easy, come in for the interview, get yourself ready, and we will talk. Okay. The number of people to be awarded this information we would give to you later, because at the moment we are still currently sourcing more funds to make sure that we are able to accommodate as many people as possible. So definitely we would bring this information to you once we have this information concluded. So this is it about the bridge, what we are doing, where we are at the moment with the last application that we put out, and then coming back to the seminar we are having today, which is decision making. That will be taking the person who will be taking us on this particular topic would be Professor Emeka Ezeonu. He is a professor, and Jide is going to tell us a lot more about him. But before we come to that point, I would like to tell you how we were going to run the seminar today. So first, we are going to have this presentation from Professor Ezeonu for roughly 45 minutes, right? And while we are having this, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat. I'll be collating all the questions, and so that we can be able to ask these questions in the last 15 minutes after his presentation. So I will take all your questions, And these questions I'm going to ask him at the last, after his presentation, so that he can answer and clarify our questions. So get your pen, get your paper. While he is making the presentation, jot down your questions so that you don't forget, and type them in the chat. Type them in the chat. That is where we pick our questions from. Did I miss out anything? And it's 15 minutes Q&A. So please, if you have any decision-making question, there are some decisions. It's even an opportunity for you to bring on that decision that is really difficult for you to answer. The professor is here and he's going to be able to answer your questions and give you more insight in the direction that you're looking to have. So this is the aim of this particular seminar today, to help us with our decision-making. And right now, I would like to hand over to Jide Ogonna Nwajobi to help us please introduce our speaker for the day. Ogonna, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joma, for giving us a highlight of what to expect today, for introducing our endeavor, the dream, the BRIS scholarship. And thank you, Professor Ezeonu, for obliging us with your presence. So it is a great honor to introduce Professor Ezeonu. It is a difficult thing for me to do because he's a great man, and I feel so little to introduce him. However, being one of his sons, I will do that. So I have the honor of introducing a very intelligent man, a humble man, a great achiever, an advocate. My mentor of years, my role model, as well as a board member of the BRIS scholarship. So Professor Ezeonu is a biochemist, and that makes us, we both of us are biochemists. And he graduated in 1986, that's that year when I was born. So he's been studying biochemistry all my life. So he finished in 1986, got his master's from the University of Ibadan in 1988, and went straight for his PhD and graduated in 1992 from Hezekiah University. He's the first in many respects. So he was the first PhD student produced by Hezekiah University. And this university he holds dear to his heart till today. So, and he's been a lecturer with the University of within Hezekiah University, and got to the highest academic title in 2001, the full professor. And again, in the year 2010, he was again given a dual position as a professor of drug and pharmaceutical chemistry. And Prof is well published, and his research has guided a lot of regulatory agencies' policies, including that of Canada and in different parts of the world. So Prof has widely traveled giving seminars. So we are really honored to be able to have him give us one of his today. And Prof, apart from research and being a professor, is equally held a lot of positions, but I'm going to highlight just two. So there was a French university, Hezekiah University, a private university in Imo State, that he was the first Vice-Chancellor, and he helped to build that university from the scratch. So he's a man who has been in contact with making decisions, even to the level of designing the future of a university. And again, Prof, until last year, was the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Imo State, a position where he truly showed his integrity. And and that shows the character that endears him to most people, of a man of upstanding integrity and honesty. So I want you to listen with keen attention, for you can trust this man, whatever he does. Prof, I'm happy that you are here with us. You will take it away and do what you do best. Thank you, Prof. Okay. Yeah, Prof, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm having some challenge here with audio. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Obviously, I think you have to, I don't think I can control the slide from here. It will be from your own end, right?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, okay. Okay, so I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I extend my regards to every person that has joined the lecture. Like you've been told, I'm a scientist by training, but in everything we do, we get involved in decision making. There are events in the past that made me wonder about the mindset of somebody that takes a decision, because you can see the same person taking different decisions over the same issue concerning different people. In 2012, I had the opportunity to attend a program at Harvard Jeff Kennedy School of Government, where I was involved in executive education on leadership decision making. And ever since then, I've continued to follow up on developments and decision making. I want to tell you that this is one of the vastest area you can venture into, because 3, 4, 5 people can consider the same issue, look at it separately, and then take different decisions with different consequences. So today, I want us to look at the art of decision making and also the science, because it's now growing from art to science, and the science is developing very, very fast. And as we proceed, you will see the innovation that science has brought to decision making. Next slide. Let me start by looking at what we mean when we talk about decision. The decision is a conclusion or resolution that is reached after considering all the alternatives available to you. The root word of decision was from the Latin word decidere, which means to determine. Now, decision making refers to the act or process of selecting a particular plan of action from a set of alternatives that are available to you. If you look at that image there, you see somebody who is walking along the road, and then he has 5 different routes. He has to decide on which one to take depending on where he's going to. Decision making is very important because it's an integral part of our daily lives. From the moment you wake up every morning until you go to bed, you make a decision. You are constantly faced with decision, with choices. The decision about when to take your bath, what to have as your breakfast or lunch, what to wear for the day, what to do for the day, and so on. All these are decisions that you are faced with. In this discourse, we shall delve into both the art and the science of decision making. We will try to explore the importance of decision making. We'll look at the key considerations. We'll look at strategies for making informed choice to decision, because a decision does not make good sense if it is not informed. Now, let us try to understand the importance of decision making. Decision leads to action. And of course, until a decision is made, nothing happens. If you wake up in the morning, you take your bath, and you have not decided on a clothes to wear, you cannot wear any clothes until you decide. There are even people who are so conscious, especially women, that they make these decisions ahead about what they will wear on Monday, what they will put on Tuesday, what they will put on Wednesday. So success in life is the result of bold and courageous decisions taken at the appropriate time. There have been instances where people take the right decision at the wrong time, and then you will not get your expected result. So decision making plays a crucial role in shaping our lives, because every decision we make has its consequences, which can have has far-reaching consequences, which can be for or against our interest. So we have to learn the art of making decisions. Now, there are two styles in making decisions. The first one is what we call intuitive decision making. That's basic decision making, refers to the process of making simple decisions that do not require much evaluation or analysis. You just use your intuition, which is ability to sense, check something. Assuming you set out, for instance, to go and buy fuel, and you've traveled about 10 kilometers to go and buy fuel, and when you got there, you realize that possibly what they are selling, the amount they are selling, is about, put together, possibly 5 naira above what you would have bought it in a different place. But you don't have time, and then you don't have the convenience. It becomes easy to say, look, I can forfeit this 10 naira, please give me fuel. You don't need to go into extraneous balancing of equation for you to take that decision. So there are several decisions. Sometimes you send somebody to the market to buy something for you, and maybe the last time you checked, that thing was about 20,000. So you give the person 20,000, and he gets to the market and now sees that it is 22,000. And the person calls you and says, look, the price is now 22,000. You want me to buy it or to leave it? Of course, the have money, buy it. When you come, I give you back your 2,000. But if you tell the person to come back, maybe let me check, and then the person will come back.
I cannot hear him from my side. Can you hear him, Morgana?
No, I think we lost him.
Okay, so we're going to exercise a little bit of patience. Hopefully this technical problem will be resolved and he will be able to join us back. Okay. So while we wait for Prof to join us back, could you please tell us from where you're joining in, and what is your take about decision making? I just learned for the first time now that deciding on what clothes to wear is actually a decision making also. So this is amazing. So tell me in the chat, what do you think? As in, what decision has been difficult for you to make, or what is the tips you've used to make a decision about anything? It would be awesome if you drop me one.
Okay.
Oh, Prof is back. 1 more minute. I think we can start with you while Prof joins us.
Yeah, can you ask the question again?
Yeah, what are the little skills or tips you have actually employed in trying to make a decision?
And relying on the past consequences of similar decisions.
Amazing. 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 Tell me what you think in the chat. Yeah, David says no sound. Yes, we're trying to rectify that for Prof. Yes. And he's going to come online as soon as possible. Okay. So Kide said relying on the past consequences of similar decision. That's awesome. In my own side, I think the things I depend on most times for decision making is basically facts. Try to find out facts for similar kind of things. Try to find out how much information I can be able to get. And this I can use to, base my decision based on the facts that I have. I think different people do it different ways, depending on what you're trying to decide on. Okay. Yeah, and Koma said it depends on what the decision is about. Of course, I agree with you. It depends on what it is about. Yeah, true. Very correct. And so Chima said, most of my decisions are based on intuition. Cool. The critical ones like career are based on facts. Amazing. Amazing. And Solomon said, I'm joining from Nayut, Newi, Anambra, Nigeria. Oh, awesome. Hi, Solomon. He said, I learned that right decision will take you a long way in life. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Nkoma also said, if it's about business, I will rely on information on the business environment. That's really smart, Nkoma. That's super smart. For business, it's always good to rely on the mistakes that people in similar businesses have had, or even to learn from their own experience. That is very smart, Nkoma. Super smart. So tell me in the chat. It's coming in. How have you made your decisions in the past? What did you rely on to make a decision in the past? That's really nice. I think one very huge thing that I've taken out so far is like until a decision is made, nothing happens. And one amazing thing is how you live every single day of your life making decisions without even knowing that you are making decisions. You decide on the clothes you wear, what time I wake up, what do I eat. All these are daily decisions that we make towards achieving a clear goal, which means that our success or the goal of whatever we want to achieve is strongly tied to our decision making. That's super powerful. That's super powerful. Means our decision is not only dependent on, what do I call it? It's not only dependent on the big things you need to achieve, like the career goal, your spouse, the choice of a spouse or whatever. It also depends on how you do your day-to-day activities, what you decide to do. I also read something somewhere that says the person you want to be in future depends on the things you're doing today. And that means it clearly depends on the decisions you're taking today. Yeah. Oh, nice. Nkoma said, in order to make a good decision, I explore available options first. Awesome, 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 awesome. And how would you do this? It's really nice to see available options first. Oh, that's a very good tactics to use. A very awesome one to use. Nice. Amazing. So tell me, guys, let's make this conversational while we wait for Prof to get back on. Tell me, what do you do or how do you come up with your own decision? Dr. Ifeanyi Nwafo says decision taking is easily said, but hard to execute. I agree 100% with you, doctor. And he says a good decision taking is an act. Mine is from facts obtained or researched, and sometimes a reflex from our inner mind, right? This is very right. Facts and intuition. Very correct. Very correct. Very correct. Awesome direction there. Combination of facts and intuition. Very awesome. Very awesome. Nice. Dr. Ifeanyi, I think you captured it absolutely correctly. Absolutely well. Yeah. Easier said than done. I agree 100% with you. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. But then when you get facts, what if your intuition says something different from the facts that you get? Have you had something like that before? How did you handle something like that? If your intuition is saying something different from what the fact is saying, has someone had such kind of experience? Can you tell me in the chat, how were you able to handle that? Maybe someone can learn from it. Maybe someone is going through something similar at the moment. Drop me your response in the chat. Have you ever had the experience where the facts you found out seem different from what your intuition is telling you? How were you able to handle this? Oh, okay. Prof says he's on, but we can't hear him. Prof, can you check your microphone if it's connected? I see you here as on mute. Oh, I don't see. Okay, you're out again from the screen. Can you try to join back? Oh, Dr. Ifeanyi says, when your facts does not align with your intuition, give that decision time. I agree. Nice tactics. Nice option. Give it time. Yeah. Now I see you, Prof.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Welcome back, Prof.
Sorry. Okay. So I don't know where you missed me.
We lost you when you were explaining the intuitive decision making. Yes.
Okay. But you got that right.
Yes, we got that. We got part of it. We lost you in between.
Okay, I said when intuitive decision, you are making use of your it's just basic decision making. It's not strenuous. It's just common sense. You don't need to go into analysis to make it's part of the normal decision we make virtually every day, even without thinking. You get into a restaurant, for instance, and you say, what do you have? They tell you we have rice, this, and you say, give me rice or give me so and so. There are no conscious effort. You just take it. There is no logic about it. You don't start asking, okay, which one do I take now? How did you cook it? Did you use pepper? Did you use Maggi? You know, but if you are going into rational decision making, it has to be logical. There must be a logical sequence which you can always rely on in future again. And I said, rational decision making is more appropriate in organizations or in more critical cases, like if you are trying to make a career decision, then you have to be rational. You have to look at your competencies. If you are going into the university, for instance, you are not good in sciences, but your people say they want you to study medicine, and you foolishly go into studying medicine. And at the end, you come out not studying medicine. So you should be in a better position not to allow people make decisions for you. It's about your life. You should be a key player. You should be your boss, taking your decision. And if they are insisting that you do medicine, you tell them why you cannot do medicine. One, you don't have that patience to start looking at patients. You don't like seeing blood. There must be reasons. And then the ones you want to do, why do you want to do them? It gives you, this is the type of thing I like to do. It gives me joy. And that's actually part of the essence of the 633 system of education, which of course we are not using. Because the expectations is that by the time a pupil goes through primary and junior secondary school, the person's skill will evolve. You will see the person's interest. So that will now inform the choice of subject choice at senior secondary school. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I also say there are two levels of decisions. One is the personal decision and one is the organizational decision. The personal decision is a decision you take as an individual, and it's usually something that concerns you or your family or your interest. It gives you opportunity to exercise your free will. You don't have any restriction, and the decision is often said to be informal or unofficial. For instance, somebody can come and beg you for money. I mean, it's not for you to say whether you give the money or not. It's a very simple thing. It's about you. Now, there is what you call organizational decision. Organizational decision now is a decision you take in an organization because of the position you occupy. And oftentimes, people misplace the two things. If you become a manager or you attain a position of leadership, you should be able to distinguish between the decision that is personal and the one that is organizational. I give you a very simple, common example. As a lecturer, when I catch students misbehaving or getting involved in some type of malpractices during examination, and I impound your paper and contravene you, I have done that not because I am Emeka Ezeonu, but I have done it as a professor of the university working for the university. So if after the exam you come to me begging me to forgive you, my answer is usually simple. I do not have power to forgive you because you have not offended me. You offended an organization which I'm working for. I'm just an agent of the organization. I will report back to them. Whatever decision they take about you is not my business. You have not offended me. You don't have a right as a lecturer to forgive a student who is involved in exam misconduct because he has not sinned against you. He has sinned against the organization. So this sometimes people take these things, appropriate them. You take away your power as official power, and you execute it as if it's a personal power. These are part of the mix-up we usually have in establishments. Hello?
We can hear you. We're here.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you, Prof.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, let us now come to leadership decision making, because most decisions we make as individuals often are of no serious consequence to others. They are of consequence to us. And it is not every decision we take that are very, very crucial. There are some that are normal day-to-day decisions which we can take. Some of these decisions are reversible. You can take it, and if it's not working, you reverse it. The ones that are very difficult are those decisions that are irreversible. There are some decisions that are irreversible. So if you take a wrong decision, that's why it's good to do a lot of consultations. Sometimes if you are going for surgery, if there is a case and you have been recommended for surgery, it's a very serious issue. Before you go for surgery, you must seek about 2-3 other opinions. Right? Because there may be an option that don't require surgery. Surgery is a very critical thing. It may be between life and death. So such decisions are not just easily taken. And because it is very crucial, and the ethics requires that you should give your consent, you will usually be requested to sign that you are giving your consent to go through this surgery because they know the risk. Later we're talking about the environment under which you take decisions, certainty, uncertainty, and the risks. So because of the risks, they want to make sure that you commit to yourself to the whatever decision, so that at the end of the day you'll be held entirely responsible for the decision you have taken. Now, so when we are talking about leadership, there is this common cliche that everyone is a leader, regardless of your position, wherever you are, that you're a leader. Well, but morally, I mean, that goes for everybody. But when we talk about organizational structure, then personnel in leadership matters a lot. And the domain of leadership is decision making. If you're a leader, your major duty is to take decisions, and then the rest will comply with your decision. So what leadership is to an organization is exactly what decision making is to leadership. Because if a leader makes the wrong decision, then the organization will do something that is wrong, and then the consequence may
I apologize for this disruption. I mean, we understand the network situation, but Prof will join us back shortly. Meanwhile, while we wait for Prof to come back, we can already begin to drop our questions in the chat. You can drop your questions in the chat if you have any question, or if you have a scenario you would like Prof to address during the Q&A session. The time is now. You can begin to drop them in the chat so that we can be able to take care of them during the Q&A session. Also, just to bring to our notice once again, I will give us the update from the Bridge scholarship that was put out for the application in the previous months. We have gotten in the application, we got over 1,200 applications, and the checks from these applications has been ongoing for the past months, and out of which we have shortlisted 60 persons. Please do well to check the Bridge Scholarship website to be able to get more information. Welcome back,
Am I back, of course, now?
Yes, you are, please.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm having challenge. This is unusual. I'm having a lot of challenge now. Okay, so we are talking about the role of leadership in decision making before you lost me.
Exactly.
Okay, so I said leadership is about vision and planning. If you are to lead an establishment, then you must be in a position to envision where you are going to, plan it, depending on, because later we are going to see we have what we call strategic decision, we have tactical level decision, and we have operational decision. We'll come to that later. Now, the strong leadership enhances decision making. Hello? Hello?
Oh, we can hear you, Prof. We can hear you, Prof.
So I said strong leadership enhances decision making at all levels of an organization. And leaders who excel in decision making display a deep understanding of their business or operational environment. When you want to we can hear you, Prof. We can hear you, Prof.
Prof, I think you just went on mute. Yes, exactly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you well.
So when you want to employ a manager or an executive in an establishment, it is common to put up an advertisement and then say the qualities you require from the person. Now, the essence of interview and getting CV is to be able to analyze and see whether the person you want to take have the qualities you desire. And then you also have to interact with the person, and sometimes you come to a decision about who to choose. And in most cases, when you hire the person, you give the person a probationary period just to test, to make sure that what you expect is what the guy is giving you. If within the probationary period the person has not performed, you will let the person off. You may even see a good leader or somebody who is good, who is competent, is highly skilled, but he lacks one very important thing, which is emotional intelligence. Today, emotional intelligence has become a very important consideration in leadership. That's your ability to manage yourself emotionally, your character, and also to manage others, to have the feelings for others, be compassionate, be considerate, and even when you are tough, there are periods for softness and there are periods for flexibility. If you are tough and you are tough all the time, then at a time it will become a problem in the establishment. Now, the next slide is about the 3 types of decision in leadership. Can I have the slide?
Yes, it's up.
Okay, the three types of decision levels in leadership. Now, at the upper echelon, they have what you call strategic level. That's long-term decisions. Long-term decisions are made by the chief executive or the senior managers. These are people at the top echelon of the establishment, and they are responsible for vision and planning, like I said earlier. The leadership decision making here is strategic as to setting the vision, the mission, the core values, and the targets of an organization or an establishment. When we talk about vision, we are talking about endpoint, target. Where do we want to take this establishment, or where do we want to take this institution, or where do we want to take this organization? Now, the mission statement, the mission is the road through which we are going to travel to reach that endpoint. And then the core values are the vehicles we are going to use. These things are strategic decisions. And that's why for every organization, they always have their vision, their mission statements, and then their core values. It's strategic. Once you look at it, it tells you where they are going. It tells you their interest. Now, the next slide, is what we call the tactical level. Now, this tactical level is handled by the mid-level managers. That's what people we call the management team. These are now possibly people who are running the establishment. Their major concern is execution and value creation in an organization. They promote what the mission and vision of the statement by what they do, how they do it, how they allocate the resources, and so on and so forth. So their leadership decision making takes on a tactical tone. And as managers, they are all right. They must make decisions about resource allocation, about performance management, and strategic execution. They are the people that prepare maybe work schedule on a weekly basis. Their decision is medium term, is not long term. The long term is the strategic level decision. Their own decision is medium term. It may be decision for this month. It may be for 1 month. It may be for 1 week, or as the company or as the organization or as the establishment has designed it. Now, the next slide is about operational level. This is now where you have administrators who are like junior managers, and their main mandate is to coordinate and control the tasks of an organization. And leadership decision in this instance revolves around creating efficient systems, ensuring compliance, and maintaining the organization's operational infrastructure. Assuming you find yourself as an administrator in an establishment, and then maybe it's a marketing company, and you are controlling a fleet of vehicles, and then one of the vehicles gets bad on the way, or runs out of fuel. You don't ask him to wait until you consult the man on top. You should be able to take the decision. Say, okay, if you have run out of fuel, where are you now? Can you organize and I will send you money. Because at the end of the day, what the establishment wants to do is you have accomplished the task you are given. If you decide to be a neurotic and you complain all the time and you have issues, then it's very likely that your stay in that establishment will not last long. Next slide.
Is that Prof?
Okay. Now, let us look at the key considerations in decision making. So if you are in position of leadership or in an organization, and then you want to take decisions, even as individuals, because individuals should have goals and values. The first thing you want to do is to identify the goals and your values. So before you make any decision, it's essential to clarify your goals and your values, because it helps you to create a framework that aligns with your choices. Because these are the things that truly matter to you or to the establishment. So you must have to identify the goals. You must have to identify the values. Whether what you want to do is in tandem with the value of your establishment. Sometimes even your own personal value may not be in tandem with the value of the organization where you work. But as on your position, in that establishment, you should follow what the establishment has said. If you don't want to follow their value system, then you have to check out. But once you are there, you are bound to restrict yourself to what they have defined as their values. Now, the next one is that you have to gather information and then analyze all the options that are available so that you can make informed decision. Most of the time, people make wrong decisions because they don't have sufficient information. Later, we are going to see them, because one of the important things you consider when we are looking at the mindset of a decision engineer. Information is very, very important. And not only information, knowledge. Knowledge is the ability to sort that information, to bring out the facts about what you want. Let me just give you a simple example. If you, assuming you want to buy a Rolex watch, or the company has sent you, they want to buy a Christmas gift for their major customers or clients, and they send you to buy a Rolex watch, you know the information is that the Rolex watch is costly, it's a good watch, it has value, or you have been asked to make a recommendation and you recommend that you buy a Rolex watch, and you are asked to go and buy a Rolex watch. If you don't know what a Rolex, you don't have a knowledge of a Rolex watch, you will buy fake. Because when you come to the market, you will see some watches, if you look at it, you read the Rolex. But when you bring it, you buy it and come, they will tell you, my friend, return this thing, this is not Rolex. You'll be insisting that the Rolex is written there. You have the information that is Rolex, but your knowledge has not shown you what a Rolex watch is. Because if you have the knowledge, you know that once you see a Rolex watch, even by holding it, you see that it's heavy. You look out for certain things that shows you that this is Rolex. So it's not only gathering information, it's about analyzing the information to evolve the knowledge that will help you take your decision. And then the next one is assessing the risks and the rewards, because every decision has some level of risk. As a matter of fact, there are places you'll be working, there is a level of decision that will come. You say, oh boy, please, I don't want to get involved in this one. Let's wait for the manager when he comes, because there is a level you cannot take certain decisions for the establishment. If you take the decision and it works out well, they will praise you. But if it doesn't work out well, you'll be in trouble. But if you are operationally in a position to take such a decision and you take it and it doesn't work out well, no person will crucify you. It is in the process of doing your job. So you have to assess the risk and then the rewards that are associated with each choice you make. Later, we are going to see some of the examples. Now, next slide. Yeah. Now, another one is strategies for effective decision making. We have talked about rational thinking. Now, one very terrible thing that goes with making decisions is emotion. It's a very serious issue, and we'll come back to that. Emotions can cloud your sense of judgment. So engaging in rational thinking with clear mind, without being emotional about it. Seeking different perspectives. The decision making can benefit from diverse viewpoints. So in some occasions, you may have to seek the opinion of others. You just have to reach out to others to find out, look, I have this thing before me. Please, I want to pick your brain. Can you advise me on what you think is the best way to handle this? Sometimes the person may say, well, what do you have in mind? Sometimes it's even better to look for people who have had similar experience or who are in similar circumstances like with you, so that you seek their own perspectives, because you may be limited by exposure and by knowledge as to your perspectives. But when you reach out to people who have far more experience, you see greater perspectives that they have not seen before. Am I still on? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We lost you for a few seconds, but you're back. Yes.
Okay. So I was talking about seeking different perspectives. from people you think who know better, who also exposed or who have been in a similar circumstance. Assuming you want to go overseas, like all these boys who are girls who are japaring now, every person wants to leave. Some of them don't do sufficient investigation about where they are going, what they expect. Because if you do a thorough study and then you seek opinion of people who already have been there, they will tell you their experience. So you get prepared, you anticipate things you are likely to meet, and you design how you overcome them. But when you don't and you get there, you run into a serious confusion and it becomes a problem. And then the last strategy is trusting your intuition. There is almost 70%, 80% probability that your intuition is right. So always try to trust your intuition in everything you do. If you think deeply about it, you will see that your intuition may be telling you, look, if you do this way, it may work better. So these are strategies. You don't single them out. These are strategies you have to go through. You do your rational thinking. And what's your rational thinking? You look at what you want to do. Look at the logic of what you want to do. Does this one make sense? If I take this step, usually there is what you call a decision tree. If I do this, what will happen? If this one happens, I will go this way. If this one happens, I will go this other way. So that you always have, that's why we say you always have a plan B, so that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Next slide. Now, there are models. There are decision-making process models. You have the one you call CASV, CASVE. You have some others. These are acronyms to represent sequence. But I've decided to use DECIDE for simplicity. It's something you can always remember. Others are acronyms that cannot easily be pronounced or that are not conventional. But DECIDE is very simple. Now, it's a model. It represents an acronym for 6 particular activities that is needed when you want to make a decision. The first one is you define the problem. What is the problem I want to solve? The second one is you establish the criteria, because what is a problem to you may not be a problem to another person. And that is the simple truth. Somebody may be interested in having an accommodation, and you give the person an accommodation. Maybe somebody has just arrived or a new country, and you give the person an accommodation, and the person will be happy. Another person, you give the same person, another person the same accommodation, the person will say, no, I can't stay in this type of place, or that this place is not convenient. So what is a problem to one person may not be a problem to another person. And that's why normally in group decisions, there is the need to have a consensus to make sure that you people are speaking the same language. Now, so you have to establish the criteria that why you consider this a problem. Then you consider what are the alternatives that are available to you. Then you identify the best alternative, you develop and implement a plan of action, and then you evaluate and monitor the outcome of the action. For some decisions that are reversible, if it's not working, you can always reverse yourself. So now I want to apply this side to a very typical where he is working or where she's working. Next slide.
You're up, Prof.
Hello?
It's up. The next slide is up.
No, it's not yet. Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to apply the DECIDE here. So what is the problem I want to define? Dissatisfying job or relationship. Okay, let me take a relationship because that one is very easy for everybody to understand. Assuming somebody is a lady that is married to a man, and he finds the situation very oppressive, very dissatisfying, and maybe you go to talk to your friend or your people and say, look, I'm having a serious problem in my marriage. I have a problem. I'm not satisfied. And say, what do you want? But your husband is rich. He has a car. He bought you a car. What's your problem? For some other person, it depends. So that's why I say, what is a problem to one person may not be a problem to another person. And then the lady opens her and says, no, the man is too bossy. He's not romantic. He doesn't even appreciate anything I do in that house. The way he talks to me as if I'm a slave, he's very possessive. I can't go out anywhere except with his permission. No, that's not the type of life I want for myself. And he is also physically abusive. So you've looked at the criteria you want. You want a place where you feel a congenial atmosphere, where you come, be happy with your husband, discuss with him. You are not getting it. You want somebody who will respect you. So complaining, and the situation is not improving. You keep on complaining. Then the next thing you do is that you start thinking whether this marriage is actually worth it. And then what do? You start considering the alternatives. For a situation like this, you have only 4 rational decision options. 4, not more than 4. Anything that beyond 4, like committing suicide, is irrational. So you can't bring it in. You have only 4 rational decisions. The first one is that, look, you look at it. You have the decision, the two major things. One, do I still want to stay in this marriage, or do I want to opt out? In the marriage, then there are 2 options. It is either I persist and tolerate this man and keep on praying that the man, and keep on praying and hoping that the man will change. In that case, the status quo ante remains. That's, I'm remaining in this marriage. This may come after even you have interacted with your friends, and even family members, and they keep on advising you. At the end of the day, you bring all the options before you. The first option is, look, do I want to stay or to leave? If you want to stay, then there are 2 things you can do. The first one is, okay, you've resolved to stay, and then you continue to love him, but possibly you love the man actually. I'll continue to love him, I'll continue to treat him as my husband despite whatever, and I continue to pray that the man changes. You are persisting. The next one is, okay, your mind has left the marriage, but because you already have children in this marriage, and then in taking all these decisions, there are things before you. Because this is the 2 major options now. Do you want to leave or do you want to stay? If you decide that you want to, or rather, do you want to change the situation or remain the status quo? You want to change the situation. If you want to change the situation, what are the 2 options? One, it is either I leave this man, maybe we separate for a start, and then if he repents, I come back, or if he doesn't, then we can divorce. Then what is the second option? To voice out, to speak up and challenge him. I will challenge him. I will make demands of him. I will quarrel with him if he wants. Even if he wants, we'll fight physically until he changes. We must, this husband and wife, we was married. After all, I was in my house, he came. It's a decision that's available to you, right? And then another one is to persist. Okay, let me keep on staying if you want to maintain the status quo, and keep on praying that the man changes. Or you can neglect. Neglect means you are still with the man, but you are living like somebody who is divorced. What you owe him is the responsibility of giving him food, serve his food, and then go to your room and stay. In the morning, if you see him, you can greet him, or you may not greet him. So you are there, but actually you are no longer there. Now, but for you to take these decisions, there are things you have to consider. Assuming I want to leave this man now, I don't have a job. How do I sustain myself? I don't have a house. Where do I go? Will my parents tolerate my bringing back 3 children to the house and staying? I know my mother, she will ask me to go back. Do I have money? No. Do I have job? No. So that is rationally, automatically off the table for you. You can say, okay, because maybe the man don't even want you to be working. Or you say, okay, while I will stay, let me start working about how to earn my independence financially, right? Then if you want to speak out, what is this man's attitude? Is he a brute? If I start challenging him, will he be beating me? Because these are options you have to take. before these are the options you have to identify. Now, having identified all these things, you are looking, these are now how to select the best alternative that is available. I said the choice of an alternative is based on feelings of commitment and control. Do you actually believe you can effect change? And are you committed enough to try to effect that change? If you believe you are stuck with the status quo, that you have no option, that living is not even an option, then you choose to stay. And it's either you neglect the man's attitude and then be very passive in the relationship, or like I said, you remain persistent, try to impress him by being good to him and hoping and praying that he will one day change. Now, on the other hand, if you feel that you can make a difference, but you are not committed to making that difference, you exit, you can leave. If you have what it takes to live, that's if you have what it takes to live an independent life, or if you have what it takes to fight that the man should get you people a house in Africa here, because I know overseas is different, it's a different thing altogether. He must get you a house and then must be taking care of the children's school fees and be giving you money to take care of these children monthly. Then the next thing also maybe to fight, to voice out, and you go all out. Your action plan will depend on whatever decisions you have taken. You may not take one decision. You may take even several options. You may even take the 4 decisions, but in sequence, you say, okay, what I will do is let me neglect this man. Let's be managing this thing while I am planning some other things. And then you can start planning with your friends, complaining to them, and they will help you. Maybe they say, okay, we will help you if you want to Japan, leave the man, or we can help you get a house, to get a job. Once you are sure you have done all these things, one day the man will come back and will not see you again. You have packed out. You have not divorced. You have exited. You want to stay in separation. And if the man actually needs you, he may come back begging, and over time, you people may settle and come back. Or you can extend it further by going for a divorce. If he doesn't show any interest and suddenly another person starts approaching you, you can take a divorce. All these are options. But these options have consequences. Next slide. Your actions. The next slide. Now, this is the metrics of rational decision for handling dissatisfied situation. And it means you are committed. No, go back. Yeah. If you want, either you exit or you speak up and be ready to fight with the person. On the other hand, or you persist. Now, if you exist or you neglect, this is detrimental to the relationship. Because if you go, there is no longer a relationship. Or if you neglect the relationship, you are no longer committed to it. So it's detrimental. So the situation deteriorates. Now, but you may benefit as an individual, but the other person will not, because we are talking about relationship as a cohabitation in this instance. Now, on the other hand, if you decide to voice out, it may bring, because you may voice out and start challenging the person, and he may realize actually that he has been doing these things unintentionally, and the man may decide to change. Or for the man may also change. Just like it's same for man, it's also the same thing for woman. It's not only man that it's not only woman that lives. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Prof.
Hello?
We can hear you, Prof.
Okay, while we're waiting for Prof to get back online, I would use this short time to address a question someone already posted in the chat. Hi, Prof. Can you hear us?
Okay, I'm back.
Yes, welcome.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Back?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So forget I'm talking about is a man can also decide to leave a relationship that's harmful. So it can go either way. Next slide. So how does the mind work in making a decision? In truth, most people cannot fathom why they make decisions they do. Even sometimes people who take the decision in future may wonder how he took that decision. President John Kennedy said that the essence of ultimate decision remains impenetrable to the observer, often indeed to a decider. Meaning that sometimes it's even very impossible for the person observing the man who has taken a decision to understand why this man took this decision. There are some decisions people will take and it will appear very irrational to you as an observer. You know, also, even sometimes the person who took that decision may be wondering how he arrived at that decision. Next slide. Now, Aristotle defined human beings as rational animals. Of course, in its commonest sense, rationality is the quality of being guided by reasons or being reasonable. For example, persons who act rationally have good reasons for what they do. And this usually implies that they can reflect on the possible consequences of what they do. Because for every action, there is a consequence. So but in real sense, somebody to commit suicide as a way of opting out of a situation is not comfortable with. Maybe you are to commit suicide. Is that rational? It doesn't appear to be rational. So the person who was at the moment he's taking that decision, it appears rational to the person. But in real life, it's irrational. Next slide. Next slide.
Is that, Prof?
Yeah, studies and life experiences have shown that human decisions are often colored with emotions. And emotions are mental states that are brought on by what we call neurophysiological changes that are variously associated with thoughts, feelings, behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. In the human brain, there are what we call neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are biological chemicals that work on the brain. Some of them are responsible for what you call the body's reward system. What you call the reward system. There are some people, when you go, the men, you go to a barber to have a haircut, and the guy is giving you a haircut and giving you soft touches on your head. Those soft touches stimulate the production of serotonin, which is what we call a feel-good chemical, serotonin and glutamate. And then you feel so happy, so relaxed, so very ease. So when the man tells you that he has finished, you say, "Oh, Gamba, I check this side. This side." You don't sleep off because you are enjoying the pleasure. We also have what we call dopamine. Dopamine is the mood molecule. I mean, serotonin is the mood molecule. Dopamine is responsible for addiction, getting addicted to either an event or an activity or a drug. So for people who take cocaine or heroin, what it does is that it triggers the release of dopamine in the brain. And this dopamine gives you an excited state that you enjoy. So whenever the effect of the drug clears, you go back to it. These biochemicals have a way of influencing what we do. Even some of them, like tryptophan, which is an amino acid we find in banana and some foods, is the precursor for the synthesis of serotonin. So when you have some of these things, the way you take decision differs. Look, if you go for external examination and they give you very good food and drink, you feel happy, you feel relaxed. When you are quizzing the students, you will be happy. Even when they don't answer things well, you say, well, as usual, and you score them well. You understand? But if you are not happy, maybe they have not even paid you. They're telling you that your payment will take up to 1 month. You were expecting that when you come, this will give you money, and they are telling you story. And then they have not even given you food. You feel very uneasy. If you ask somebody one question and it doesn't answer it well, you get annoyed. And you say, look at this nonsense. And then you can score the person low. All these things are emotion, anger, sadness, happiness. They all affect emotion. And that's why in a home, if your children know what things that make you happy, before they ask you for certain things, they try to make you happy and they come and say, Daddy, please, I want money for you. You say, okay, don't worry. But if you come and the house is not swept and and you are not in a good mood, and any person comes, maybe before he even finishes what you have given him a slap. So human decision is under emotional control. So things like anger, sadness, and happiness, they have a way of influencing our mood and thought processes. Lena, who was my lecturer at Harvard, the world today can be traced to non-rational human behavior. Even some of the judgments we get in court, assuming you have gone for an election and you out and you go and give the person offer $1 million. You have made this person so happy now. After all, what they can see whether you are a senator or not. It will just change the judgment. And by tomorrow, what they may do, they may postpone the judgment date. And when you come tomorrow, things are changed. All these things are emotion, playing games. Next slide. So, human decision making is strongly influenced by both unconscious bias and cognitive bias, which makes man to make irrational decisions. Now, unconscious bias is triggered by our brain automatically, making quick judgments and assessments. And they are influenced by three major factors. One is the background, two is personal experiences, three is societal stereotypes, and four is cultural context. Now, for cognitive bias, researchers have said the situation and factors that cause such biased decisions are your values, your memory, your socialization, and other personal attributes. We'll look at them. Next slide, quickly. Next slide.
It's up, Prof.
Hello, Jide, next slide.
It's up, Prof. Can you see the slide now, Prof?
Okay. So let us look at the fact. Now, let me give you a classical example with the ongoing Hamas-Israeli war. Most Christians are supporting Israel, not because they understand what is at stake. And then most Muslims are supporting Hamas and Palestinians. Why? Because of the background. And you cannot find somebody whom God has ordained and that Jesus Christ is from Israel. So why shouldn't I support Israel? That's just the background you are coming from. You're a Christian. And then the Muslim people are not looking at who actually owns this land. They are looking, oh, why is Israel fighting Hamas? When it was actually the Hamas that were the first people that attacked. These Muslims are supporting Palestinians also because of their background. These people are our brother. We are bound to support them. We are not interested in what you are saying. I must support them. So background is very important. A second one that unconsciously brings about bias is personal experience. And I give you a simple example. In Africa, it goes without saying that if you go to the hospital and you see any person working in a hospital wearing white as a female, the person is a nurse. If he is a male, he is a doctor. So if somebody is telling you about okay, when you go to the hospital, you know the doctor, you saw the doctor, you will ask him, oh, what did he say? Because as far as you are concerned, your personal experience has shown you that doctors are men, while nurses are females. But in actual fact, the nurse can either be a male or a female. But this is what we already used to by our personal experience, you know. And if you come, and that's why even children, once they see people in white, possibly holding a beak, they'll start crying because we remember that there was a female nurse that gave him an injection in the hospital. So these things are already at the back of his brain. It's unconscious bias. Another one is societal stereotypes. In Africa, men are expected to be assertive, while women are expected to be communal and submissive. So when you see a woman speaking up, or a woman wanting to contest for an election, of course, she's running the risk of violating that gender stereotype. And then people will say, this woman is bossy. Odionya Oga, submissive to the husband. Because that is societal stereotype. The stereotype is that it is only men that are designed to be made visible. Just like you also have in the churches, that is only men that can be priests, and women cannot be priests. Women cannot be bishops. When a woman becomes a bishop, it is unusual. It doesn't agree with the society, with the stereotype we are used to. So also this is in our subconscious. And then the last one is the cultural context. Cultural context brings bias and prejudice over certain things we do. It suggests that there is a preference of one culture over another. You come to Lagos, for instance, you see a Yoruba landlord advertising for vacancy in his, and we tell you that if once you come and say, no, I don't want Igbo people. What is your reason? Because there is, which is already in their consciousness, that Nandi Bonawanya, you don't want somebody who will come here, what's over or start looking for how to buy your house. Some will say, in some landlords, like in Abuja, will say, look, I don't want a single girl, or I don't want a bachelor, because they bring all sorts of people here. These things, and they are unconscious. Sometimes we'll do it without, because it's already what they are used to, even without knowing the person you are dealing with. The Igbo man you don't want to give a house, maybe an angel that has come to save you. But there is already that cultural reservation about this group of people. You don't want, just like amongst the Igbos again, they are against the Aros or Hafias. There is that cultural belief over certain things. Now, next slide. Next slide. Now, let us look at the factors that influence cognitive bias. We have looked at unconscious bias. We are looking at cognition. That this one is known. These are facts that you are thinking about, but they are bringing bias without you knowing. The first one is values. When we
We apologize once again. I think Prof is having a technical glitch from his side, and he's having a technical glitch from his side, and he's going to reconnect as soon as possible. And while we wait, I would also continue to answer the question that someone already left in the chat. And it says, please, I didn't get a mail, but I saw my name in the list. First and foremost, congratulations. Oh, Prof, you're back. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you now.
Okay, so I said values. So when we make decisions and take actions that honor our values, we are best able to maximize our feelings of satisfaction and fulfillment. But when the decisions go against our value, we don't often feel happy. Among some tribes, there is what we call honor rule. There are things you don't do. If you do it, then the person you have done it to is expected to retaliate by doing something. If the person has not done it, then it's a failure because it does not agree with their value, even if what you are talking about is irrational. So value is very, very important. What values do I have? What are my values? For instance, now, then maybe I want to give an employment, and where I'm on a board interviewing people, and then somebody walks in, a young guy walks in with his head oiled, and looking like a what do you call it, like a reggae star, and then he is wearing a saggy trouser and wearing earrings. No matter, even if you answer all the questions correctly, because you have not met my personal values, I will not recommend you for employment. It's a bias. Do you understand? It's actually a bias. You may be on a promotion panel, and then you see a man and a woman appearing for an interview, and the woman may have done far better than the man. But you have this value that, look, men should be the head of the family. So you recommend the man. These things they are biases, purposeful biases, because you know what you are doing. You may not know that it's working on you as a bias, but you do it. Now the next one is memories. Several decisions we make are mental conclusions based on the memories and the experiences you have had in the past. Memories and experiences you have had in the past. You've come to interview some people for a job, and then you see somebody who looks like and behaves like somebody who has behaved very badly in your organization before. You just dismiss the person. There is an Igbo proverb that it's about memory, because you have already conceived it in your memory, you have reserved it here. So once you see things like this, then another one is socialization. Socialization influences structured decision making by shaping individuals' choices based on the observed choices of others in their social groups. Maybe you find yourself in a social where you think you belong. You are one of the top people in society, and then your friends, your contemporaries, people who are from rich families are coming to marry their children, and suddenly a son of a nobody comes to marry your daughter. Even if you think he has all the prospects in life, you will not. Even if your daughter is telling you this is the time, sit down, you don't know what you're talking about, because you have been socialized with a class, and you want to belong to that class. And what you will be imagining is the day I gave a wedding, this guy, you go to Chandom wet. You have been drinking it in other people's own. Why should somebody who cannot afford it come to marry my daughter? You understand? Even if they tell you this guy made a first class, that look, 5 companies are looking for, you say, let him go and get the money first. Because you have been socialized to reason that way. And then the last one is personal attributes. Attributes of an individual. which may include personal traits, characters like introversion, friendliness, conscientiousness, honesty, helpfulness. All these things are important because they help you to explain consistencies in behavior, in people's behavior. There are people we say what we call neuroticism. That's people who are neurotic. This is a type of a trait, that has to do with emotional stability. The person appears to have a negative personality with negative emotions. He has a problem managing his self-esteem, and then even has a problem dealing with stress, and he has the tendency to always complain. And at times you say, now or something one or the other, every time you'll be complaining. And if there are opportunity to possibly promote, you say, leave this man. If you put him there now, tomorrow you go and start complaining somewhere. Just leave him. All these things are biases because there is a possibility that even if you promote him, all those things will go and we perform better. You don't know what this man is seeing at the background or at the family level. But all these things are biases which come into our making decisions. And they are biases that we don't easily control. Next slide. Now, so let us look at the mindset of a decision maker. Apart from all these biases, the mindset of a decision maker is under several influences. Now, these influences include information input. That is the amount and quality of information available to the person. For you to take a decision, you will make sure you have a bird's eye view of all the scenarios before you. There are some people who will come and say, look, I've been given I want a part scholarship to go and study in America. Maybe the school fees is $84,000. And then you win a scholarship of $10,000 per year. And then you'll be telling people that you are worth, or maybe they say tuition is $25,000. And then you don't know about living expenses. They're giving you $15,000 or $10,000, and you believe you can make up the other one without finding out what are the other components of money you will need. Then you rush into a decision. Then by the time you know what is happening, like our friend, he was saying Apollo, when he was taking that decision, he didn't have the whole view about consequence of what he was going to do. So the available information is very, very important. Now, also, researchers have found that emotions account for up to 90% of decision making. Up to 90%. So it is very, very essential that we understand how these choices are made. Look, with what I know, if I have opportunity, I can manipulate somebody to take a decision in my favor. Because well, if you know what you want and you can manipulate, you have the opportunity, you can manipulate the person to take decisions on your favor. There are people who are specialists in this area. For instance, you bring a student for external examination, and then maybe you are supposed to ask 5 questions for each candidate. And you ask the guy a question, possibly in an area he's very comfortable with. He will answer, especially if you know that the external examiner, because what we normally do nowadays, if an external examiner is coming, I find out his area of specialization, and I go and read those area very well. Because there is a greater possibility or probability that I will ask you a question in that area. And if you answer it very well, you can give a leading answer that will make him to answer, give you a follow-up question and another follow-up. And by the time he knows it, he will be so impressed that you can go. These things are possible. It's bias. Yes, you've just played on the person's emotion. Now, there are also what we call cognitive constraint. Now, this refers to one's ability to discern and make use of information. Somebody may have all the information in the world, but is not knowledgeable enough, or is not even intelligent enough. So it's about a measure of overall intelligence. That's why we talk about knowledge, we talk about competence, and we talk about skill. Somebody may be knowledgeable, but he lacks skill and competence. So even if you provide all the information required, he finds it difficult to go through it and make a decision. It's a problem. We call it cognitive constraint. Now, the next one is prejudice. Prejudice is a preconceived opinion that is not based on reason at all. It is not based on reason. In short, it's one of the worst things, especially for can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof.
Am I back?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof. You're back.
Yeah. So prejudice is a very serious issue. A student can come in for external examination. Maybe it's a woman that's the external examiner, and this lady walks in very elegantly, wearing eyeglasses that he considers very costly. That may be enough. You know, women are very quarrelsome. It's even enough to take a decision that this girl is stupid. Then I know this year maybe, or the wig, maybe you know that this wig costs over $500. So the first question. Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, Prof.
We can hear you, Prof.
Hello?
We can hear you, Prof.
Okay. Okay, so that second time, you can just see the person and get annoyed. This is just preconceived prejudice. Even before the person sits down, you decide to ask a difficult question. And when she doesn't get it, she can in if you didn't see it in a text, and then you leave what you are there for and start talking about some other things. These are preconceived prejudices. Or you feel that this person looks like the type of people you don't like. There are some people, once you see their nuances, you get put off. But you have no reason for doing that. But it's already preconceived. Next one. Now, the next one is the environment of decision making. Decision making is often. The first one is what we talk about, certainty. Now, this type of environment is very sure and certain by its nature. And it means that all the information is available and at hand. When you are if you are a manager, for instance, and you are making a decision and you are certain about the decision, against these people, and you are betting, and you are certain where you are going. Even if you are borrowing money, you are sure you will recover and pay back the money. So the environment of decision is with certainty. In the case of uncertainty, the information available is incomplete, insufficient, and also unreliable. Maybe you send somebody to the field to get you information and you don't trust the capacity of this guy. So he gives you this information and you see so when you are taking that decision, you don't have all the facts before you. But because you are compared by time to take the decision, you take it. And it goes with its own dangers. So it's like 50-50, but in the other case, it's virtually 90 or 100% sure. Now, then the next one is risk. In this instance, there is a possibility of you go. So in that case, you have to be very, very careful in taking your decision, because for you to do that, then you must have all the information available, and you must sift through all the information. What you call due diligence. Who is this man? What business is he doing? Has he been given a loan before? Has he managed a loan before? Did he return the money at the? You need all these things because you are running a great risk. If you don't have all this information, it's difficult for you to take a decision because you may be losing your money. Now the next, let's rush to other influences. Next, don't worry, we are rounding up. Next slide, Jide.
It's up, Prof.
Have we lost Jide?
No, it's up. The slide is up, Prof.
The slide is up, Prof.
Hello?
Yeah, the slide is up, Prof.
Next slide.
The slide is up, Prof.
No, I haven't seen it. It's the environment that is still there. Okay, yeah. Yep. So then the next one is attitudes about risk and uncertainty. Now, this describes perception of uncertainties when making a decision. There are three major risk attitudes. You have risk aversion. There are people who don't like risks at all. They want to avoid any risk. There are people who are risk seeking because they believe that the higher the risk, the greater the profit they are going to make from a particular business. And then there are people who are risk neutral. They take their decision irrespective of whether there is a risk or not. Whatever happens, they see it. Then the next one is personal habits. That's things you do in particular contexts, that's in certain situation. And then the last one is social and cultural influences, which can come about by what we call power distance index and social hierarchy. So power distance index measures social hierarchy. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Prof.
We can hear you.
I will request you to go after this lecture. You can go and Google this power distance index. HOFSTDE. Hofstede power distance index. It measures the readiness with which a subordinate accepts the superiority of a senior. And the country with the highest power distance index is North Korea. As a matter of fact, in North Korea, if they say that the president is sick, you start crying immediately. If not, you'll be in trouble. African countries also have high power distance index. In most developed countries, it is low. That's why you can call your lecturer by your first name. Overseas, you can call your lecturer, if it's John, you can call him John, and you can even hold him to an argument. In Nigeria, if I come into a class and somebody calls me Emeka, every person will look at the person because it is, if it's a female, I say, if it's a boy, I say, never now operate is equal as paddy. You understand? And even you will feel annoyed. And then possibly you say something and your student starts arguing, trying to correct you before the class. You get annoyed. Say, okay, but see exam, I'm already going to mark a script. But overseas, the lecturer will just go, if you are right, he will concede and say, yeah, I think you are right. He will concede because the power distance index is very, very narrow. It's very, very narrow. You know, these are part of social influences. Then the next slide. So now, decision engineering, improving decision making. So how do we improve decision making to make sure that we eliminate all these biases and influence so that our decision can be scientific and can be reproducible, so that if you give me a scenario and I take a decision and you give 4 or 5 other people the same scenario, they will take exactly the same decision. Because science is precision, art is not precise. Science is precision. So decision engineering is a new aspect of decision making. It's a multidisciplinary field that combines principles from various domains, including mathematics, statistics, computer science, and psychology, to improve decision making processes. Next slide. Now, to understand the significance of decision engineering, I want to tell you that it aims to enhance decision making by providing a structured framework and a systematic approach, so that decision making now becomes a science which you can test, you can do over and over and over again. If you give the same scenario to 10 people, they will come out with the same decision choice, because it is backed by data. It is backed by a model. So it recognizes decisions that often involve complexity, uncertainty, and multiple objectives, requiring a disciplined methodology to achieve optimal outcomes. By applying scientific principles and leveraging technological tools, decision engineering empowers individuals and organizations to make informed choices with greater clarity and confidence. Next slide. What are the key components of decision engineering? There are three. One is what we call decision analysis. There is a software that runs decision analysis. The second one is modeling and simulation. And the third one is data-driven decision making. This is where I'm trying to develop my skill. Next slide. So decision analysis is a fundamental component of decision engineering. It involves breaking down complex decisions into smaller, more manageable parts, identifying objectives, alternatives, and uncertainties. And it provides a systematic approach for evaluating alternatives. There are traditionally 4 phases in the cycle. I don't want to go into that because it's a more complex thing. Next slide. Now, the other one is modeling. Again, this relies on mathematical and computational models to represent decision problems and simulate potential outcomes. If you go and Google model softwares for modeling and simulating decisions, it will show you quite some of them that are now being applied. Next slide. Now, data-driven decision making. This is the use of data. It's called data analytics. I've been running an online program in data analytics. This is where you use data to make use data to make decisions. You know, as to the for instance, now you have data about students registering students maybe for the last 10 years in a particular course, and you see the pattern of failure. From your analysis, you can derive the pattern of failure and why people are failing, and then you can address the problem. It's called data analytics. You can also browse it. Next slide. So this is about application of decision engineering. It finds application across diverse domains, including businesses, finance, healthcare, and public policy. So you can see that it has a very wide reach of application and can help you to optimize the resource allocation and project management, risk assessment, and strategic planning. Next slide. What are the benefits? The benefits of decision engineering is enormous. It enhances the quality of decisions by reducing cognitive biases, promoting systematic thinking, and providing a cultural framework. It improves efficiency by streamlining decision-making processes, reducing uncertainty, and accelerating decision cycles. And then the challenge is that implementing decision engineering may face challenges that are related to data availability. If you don't have available data, or if you have a data that is not properly collected, then you have problem to use that, to analyze that, to get to your endpoint. Next, let me just round up. Or rather, I think, okay, in conclusion, decision making is a skill that can be honed and refined over time. By recognizing its importance, considering its key factors, and employing effective strategies, we can navigate life's crossroads with confidence. Embracing decision making as an art allows us to embrace our autonomy, that's our independence, shape our lives, and embark on a path that aligns with our values, goals, and aspirations. Practicing decision engineering can significantly enhance decision-making processes by providing a structured framework, leveraging data and analytics, and utilizing mathematical and computational models. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for the opportunity. I will ask for just a few minutes to ease myself, and I'll come back to take questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem, Prof. Thank you so much. I think I didn't hear all this alone. My ears are not bigger than yours. I can't imagine. I can see a lot of hearts, a lot of clapping coming in from the different social media platforms. Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much. So while we wait for Prof to get back, I was addressing someone who asked a question about not seeing an email, but saw the name on the list. And we said the name is on the list. And please check your email. If you didn't see it, send in the correct email to the same, send in a correct email to us, and we can get back to you on this one, okay? If you didn't get an email, please contact us, send us your correct email, and we can be able to rectify that. So thank you. Now we have the time. Drop in your questions. If you have a question, if you have any clarification, Prof is very, very knowledgeable in this decision making. And I know you have a lot of questions, just like I also have a lot of questions. Yeah. So please drop your questions so that as soon as Prof comes back, he can start addressing our questions. I can already see some questions coming in. Thank you. Thank you. Please drop in more questions. Drop in your questions so that as soon as Prof gets back, we can immediately start addressing the questions with Prof. So while we wait for Prof, can you just tell me in the chat, what do you think? How do you feel about this, what we have just gotten from Prof? Do you think it's going to make your next decision? What are you going to think about? I mean, I was thinking about the unconscious bias, and it's really enlightening to see how a lot of unconscious bias, or the things that your values, the things you think you know, influence the decision you make day in, day out. So tell me, okay, it's also the same for you. Oh yes, Prof is back. Welcome back, Prof.
Thank you.
So on behalf of everyone who benefited from the seminar today, I want to say thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much for the wealth that you've, the knowledge you've passed on to each and every one of us, myself included. And now we can take questions. So I'm going to start with some of the questions I already received. So one of the questions says, how do you balance intuition and logic when making a decision?
Okay.
How do you balance intuition and logic when making a decision?
Yeah.
I think I would be giving you the questions one after the other.
Okay, why don't I have about 3 or 4, because some of them may be related. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, then I can give you the three. I can give you the 3 questions I have here already.
Okay.
The second one says, can you discuss any strategy you use to mitigate decision-making biases? Can you discuss any strategy you use to mitigate decision-making biases? And the third one says, how do you approach decision-making in an uncertain situation? So these are the top 3 questions I have at the moment.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Now, like I said, decision is not a precise science. So how I approach something, another person may approach it, and it may also depend on the circumstance. Now, about balancing intuition and logic, there are it's not in all instances that you let intuition take hold of you. For personal decisions, especially decisions you know that may not cost you any serious thing. For instance, you can enter a restaurant and decide you want to eat pounded yam with okra. You understand? There is no logic about that one, and they give it to you. You may take it and you don't like it. Yeah, when I was doing my master's at University of Ibadan, I did a work at there is this I've forgotten the name now. One foreign research institute there, and they have a good restaurant. And when I went into it there, I saw in their menu today special. So I felt this must be something special, and I ordered for it. That was the worst thing I've ever eaten in my life. In short, I couldn't eat it. You know, and so I learned a lesson that was where I learned that if I enter a restaurant today, anything I don't understand, all those big, I don't, except I see it and it feels appetite, I don't order for it. And before I eat it, I will ask. But there are times when you require rational decision in matters that are serious, in matters that concern family, in matters that concern what do you call it, career. Purpose. Out of
We lost Prof for a bit. He's going to be joining us back shortly. Please, it's time to still drop your questions. Welcome back, Prof.
Yeah. I'm seeing a name. In coma. Is it in coma? I know. Okay, how are you? I'll talk to you.
I'm very
Sorry,
well, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Jide, you may not have met her. She graduated from Biochemistry. My wife's classmate and friend. Yeah. As a matter of fact, she was our chief bridesmaid.
Yeah.
That's
I'm far away from Biochemistry now.
Don't worry, we'll talk later. Let me finish addressing the issues.
Yes.
I said one of the problems young couples have has to do with a switchover in decision making. If you're a young man and you are courting somebody, maybe the guy, she visits you and says, look, she wants to take chicken suya, and then you have possibly okay, am I back? We're back. No, so now and your girlfriend comes and while you are caught, I said, look, she feels like taking suya, and you have 5,000 naira on you for the whole weekend. She's just visited there and we're going back. You will take her out, maybe buy chicken suya 3,000 naira and possibly buy drinks. And then when you finish, the lady will go. And for the weekend, you may be managing white yam with oil or cooking gari. You understand? And you'll be managing these things. Now, when you now marry her, and you have the same 5,000, and she wants to take chicken, and you know you have only 5, you will not agree. That is where rationality comes in. Because what is their chicken when they blow on for? Because she will still be disturbing you that she's hungry. So you would rather prefer to give her the money to go and buy condiments and cook soup or rice in the house, so that it is not only chopping chicken, you will have food to last you for the weekend. And when this thing starts happening, sometimes some ladies will not understand it. They say that you changed since you married me. Initially, the guy was just being intuitive. Now he has learned to be rational, right? So there are situations that require rationality, where you bring logic. Okay, so sorry. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there are instances where intuition works. You use intuition in things that are not okay, in things that are not very seriously engaging, and you use the rationality in things that are possibly things you know that we need explanations. That's where you need the rationality, and it's very, very important. So it's a balancing act about what you need, and sometimes even after you can be intuitive.
Apologies once again for this glitch in network. I believe Prof will be joining us back shortly. I think also just to give us an update for the want of time, I think we're only going to be taking the 3 questions that Prof already has because of time. But if you still have any question that you want him to address, kindly just drop it in the chat and we would get back to you with the answer to these questions. And while we wait for Prof, he's coming in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome
okay,
back.
So can I go on?
Yes.
Okay, the second question is to discuss any strategy you use to mitigate decision-making biases. Now, I want to tell you something. It is not usually very easy to mitigate bias. But one thing I try to do, especially if I'm to across board a decision that will affect several people, what I try to do is I codify it so that in course of time I can give account for each. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, Prof. We'll wait for Prof to join in. I just got a message from someone saying, oh, I am happy to join in, though I'm coming late. Yes, if you just joined us, not to worry. Follow our YouTube channel. You can always rewatch this after the live presentation. You can always catch up on everything you've missed. Okay. And there are a lot of great feedbacks coming in. John said, "Wow, yes." Wow, too. That was my exclamation on everything we've heard so far. David said, thank you, Prof. Sochima says, thank you, thank you, sir. Sherlyn says, thank you very much, Prof. And Mike said, thank you very much, Prof, for being what you are known for, a real teacher. I cannot agree less. He is really a real teacher. So Chima says, thank you very much for the exposition on decision making. Awesome.
Hello, my dear.
Yes, we can hear you back, Prof.
Okay. So sorry. So is the strategy you use to mitigate decision-making bias. Now, there is no precision equipment for measuring this. No equipment. And that's why in most instances of decision, like if students are being examined or if people are being interviewed for a job, you find a panel is involved. And the criteria for assessment will be set out for everybody. And at the end of the day, you look for the average, because every person has, so it's not in all instances that you are objective. For instance,
Hello.
Hi, Prof.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, as I said, there's no precision instrument, and bias. So it's not very easy to eliminate bias, but we do. Hello.
Hey, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you, Prof.
Sorry, I don't know. This network is becoming worse now. So, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Prof.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Prof.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Prof.
Okay, so I said it's not very easy to handle issue of bias because a lot of things can bring bias, but it's usually that's why in most instances you do what we call blind appraiser. You don't need to see the person. If
Hi, Prof.
Okay, can I go on?
Yes, you can, Prof.
Okay, I said even in the academic circle, it's not easy to eliminate bias. The only way you can eliminate bias is if you are dealing with the data and you are not seeing anybody and you are working with data. In that case, you don't get unnecessarily yoked. I know somebody in the past who went for an interview and was given a job, not because he was the best. He realized that the chairman of the interview panel was an old boy of DMGS. So he put on the DMGS tie, he put on a suit, and immediately he sat down. The man looked at him and said, "Lost yard," and the guy replied, "Lost yard," and that colored. He got the job over and above others because the big man there is an old student of his former school. When we were in the university council, can you hear me?
Yes.
When we were when I was in the university council, the practice is that if a professor, somebody's paper goes out for professorial assessment, when it comes back, in supplying the report, the vice-chancellor will remove the name of the person being assessed. And then you will read the report and then the recommendation, and then you will now be asked to vote whether this report is positive or negative because it's a blind assessment. And you will do it objectively because you don't know who is involved. And now, on one occasion, when we finished, and the VC said, you have turned down the promotion because the reports were very wishy-washy. You can see that one was outrightly off. The other one also was weak. But he said that if you think promoting this man will make him to sit up, then you can promote him. The other one is also neither here nor there. So when we were asked to vote, we all voted that he should not be promoted as a professor. And the VC said, you have just turned down the professor so. The dean said, no. In that case, I have something to tell. And we say you can no longer say anything because your bias. And that's why in most critical meetings, if there is something on the floor to be discussed, if you have interest, you indicate it. Even in modern day publication now, journals, you have to indicate whether you have any what do you call it now? To make some declarations as to whether there is anything that will make you to be biased. In 2010, I served on a joint WHO-FAO panel on bisphenol A, and we are giving forms where we have to make declarations. They want to know whether in the last 10 years you have worked with a plastic industry, because we are talking about bisphenol A, which plastic industries use. If you have actually done consultancy of they have sponsored any of your research, there is a possibility that you will not be forthcoming in being honest about what you think. So they use these things to do elimination. If you also
conflict of interest, yeah.
Exactly.
If you're also doing research studies, that's the essence of exclusion. You have exclusion principles. There are things you need to exclude because so that they don't introduce bias into your data. So the issue of bias in decision is very prominent, especially when individuals are involved. But we manage as eat as much as we can.
We can hear you, Prof.
So some of the, for me, some of the time I take to risk avoidance. You know, risk avoidance is, for instance, I've talked about catching people in exam misconduct. If you do that and people know that they can come and beg you and you listen, there will always be pressure. But once they know that they say, eyes don't catch you, but better forget it. You understand? And then you are known for that. It makes life easy for you. Then the last question is how to address decision making in an uncertain condition. I've said making decision in an uncertain condition is one of the big challenges, especially for big firms. In most instances,
Please bear with us. We only have one more question to answer. And as soon as Prof is finished with this question, the rest of the questions, we would have to get back to you with the answers later in the chat. And we can conclude. I know we've stretched a little bit beyond our time, but I mean, this is what that he's sharing with us. So I also think that you are benefiting from this.
All right.
Could you please mute yourself?
Only it's okay if I be major, but I don't know.
Thank you. I think we can make the alignment with Prof. Probably to answer the remaining question and give us just a feedback, and we can post the answer to everyone who is interested. And also alongside the question, we have an extra question in our LinkedIn chat platform. I think he can answer both, and then we can share the answers in these particular platforms where the answers are needed.
Yes. If Prof ever comes back before we leave, we just ask him to give his closing thoughts. So
exactly.
It's been a long while. He needs to take some water.
Yes, I can imagine.
Almost 2.5 hours. It's been a long time.
Yes. So I want to say thank you very much to each and every one of us who made time to join this seminar today. And before we go, I would want to touch once again about the Bridge Scholarship. This is a scholarship that is geared towards providing education to everyone by specifically selecting students who are indigent and intelligent, to make sure we provide access to education to anyone who do not have access to this because they cannot afford it, or because their parents or family members cannot afford to train them to school. And from time to time, we'll put out application forms, and you can apply and register, fill out all the information, and give everything we need. We'll review these applications and shortlist the candidates who actually passed through this review processes. And for this particular cohort 2, we received 1,295 applications, out of which we have been able to shortlist 16 names. 16 names has been shortlisted from this, and these 16 names have been uploaded in the Bridge Scholarship website. So please, if you applied for this scholarship, go there and check if your name is there. The interview is to come on 16th and 17th of December. So keep an eye on your email, because we are going to be sending more information to your email as soon as possible. Hi, Prof.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know why this temptation. Okay, so the
Prof,
last question is about how to address decision making in an uncertain.
Oh, I don't know why the network is. This is really interesting topic. I don't know why the network is obstructing this flow.
Yeah, we'll be able to, the videos that we posted, we'll be able to edit all the places where we have network issues and provide a continuous stream of the information. So
that is awesome. That is definitely awesome. So please note this, and if you want to take a look at this video again, this would be what you would get later. So I continue. We have now 16th and 17th scheduled for the interview. Please keep an eye on your email. Hi, Prof. Prof, can you hear me? Prof, can you hear me? Hello, Prof. Okay, I think he's trying multiple devices to connect. Can you hear me, Prof?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. Can you hear me, Prof?
Okay.
Can you hear me, Prof?
Making decision in uncertain situations. You should not rush to make such decisions, especially if they are not very urgent issues. Sometimes people may want to take advantage of you and want to put you under.
Did I think we can take the communication with Prof offline?
Yeah. As a people may want to put a pressure on you. Always insist that you need to think about it and have all the facts before you. If it's something that is urgent, that is not damaging, you can make. But there are some decisions you make and then you find it very difficult to reverse. It's better that you make a decision late and make a decision that is reasonable and that can be defended than rushing into a decision. For instance, somebody can call you on phone and tell you stories, about this one has happened, and they expect you to react immediately. Always have time to reflect. Can tell the person. But one thing you should know, that it is better to take a decision when you have the essential information before you. If not, you may not be sure of what you are doing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof, for addressing those questions.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us? We apologize for this hitches. So we would take this offline with Prof to align that he can give us the feedback later, and then we can post this to you. Okay. So while we were talking about the shortlisted names, if the 60 shortlisted names have been posted on the Bridge website, so please check the website for your names. And we have scheduled the interview for 16th and 17th of December. So keep an eye on your email. You would get an email telling you when, which dates and time your interview would hold. Hi, Prof. Can you hear me? Prof? Hi, Prof. Can you hear me? Okay, I think he cannot hear me yet. Jide, can you say something? Maybe he can hear you.
Yeah. Prof, can you hear us? Prof, can you hear us?
I think he cannot hear us. So for the interview, the question will be, what should you prepare? I know this is what is in your mind. We all have been to several interviews, so please get yourself ready. We just want to get to know you. We want to understand everything about you, and you can also ask questions to understand everything about us. It's just basically getting to know one another. And the number of people to be awarded this scholarship is dependent on the available fund, and this information we would get back to you with, because at the moment we're still trying to get more funds in so that we can be able to accommodate as many persons as possible. So feel free to always keep an eye on the website, keep an eye on your email. You're going to hear from us as soon as possible. Welcome back, Prof. Can you hear us? Okay, well, the network glitch is still having a problem. I'm going to, at the moment, hand over to Ogonnawa Jobi. Do you have any other comments or feedback or Prof, can you hear us?
Yeah.
The thing is working perfect.
Prof, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Yes, yes.
Okay, Prof, we decided that I mean, because of want of time, the questions that we still have, I posted also one question that someone asked also in the chat. We can also send it to you. Maybe you can answer it and then give us your feedback, and we can post it back in the group for the people. Okay.
Yeah. Prof, if you have any closing thoughts, words of wisdom you want to pass on, you might do that now before we close out.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear us, Prof? Okay. Can you hear us, Prof? I think he can hear us now.
Oh, yeah, I can now, yeah.
Okay, please, if you have any closing talk, we actually said for the other questions remaining, we will send to you, and you can give us your feedback, and we'll post back in the chats for everyone who is interested because of want of time. So if you have any closing talk or any word of wisdom you want to give to us and to the listeners, now is the time.
Okay, well, once more, I want to thank you all for the opportunity. Like I said, we are all students, and we're all learning. I'm sorry with this mix-up, because your questions would have elicited greater interest also for one to continue to do research. I am trying to connect events in the brain biochemically, because until we find out the exact relationship between metabolic activities in the brain and how they drive decision, we cannot get there. When we were in the university, I had a friend who takes Indian hemp, and Indian hemp has been shown to improve memory. And if he's after smoking Indian hemp, if you get any mathematical problem, it will resolve it. These are some of the issues that we actually need to understand. The story about the decision and how the human mind conceives and processes it is not yet very clear, but science is inching closer. There are some at Harvard University, I know they're already trying to measure certain things, because they believe that emotion can be measured by looking at what sterols in the body, and also skin conductance and some other issues. I've not seen publications that have actually proved that to be right. But there are things we know now, we used to know hypothetically, that are being demonstrated. For instance, also, it's been demonstrated, shown now, that prayers actually plays roles in medicine, in health management. You know, using experiments, that people who listened to prayers improved more than those who didn't. And these things have been demonstrated. The one we also know is also the effect of music, because music today is being used in treating psychiatric patients. And experiments have been done to show that if you play good music in Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I said it also be demonstrated if you play good music in a poultry farm. By good music, I mean blues, classics, good symphony. You are likely to harvest more eggs. But you
That is a very great finding.
Which is very good for Christmas season, those who are growing eggs.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you play rocks, jazz, all this rock music, gosh, then you are likely going to have a problem. Even if they lay eggs, they may match on them while they are running about. So there is a lot about what we don't know yet, which science is yet to unearth. Incidentally, in this part of the world, we are largely seriously handicapped, with documentation to follow up on some of this. So I want to thank you all. We keep on, there will be another opportunity for further discussions on this and other topics. Like I say, we are all students and we keep on learning every day. I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very, very much, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Prof. On behalf of myself, the Bridge Scholarship team, and everyone who actually is benefiting from this seminar, we want to say a very big thank you. And actually, in our chat, a lot of thanks are coming in. So many people are saying thank you for this empathic insight on decision making. Thank you so much for the exposition. And so many thanks are coming in, flooding in. I cannot read all of them, but I think everyone is as grateful as I am that you opened our eyes to so many things behind decision making that we've never really paid attention to. Thank you so much. And I am very much interested in so many of those researches, especially the ones that are talking about so many unseen things that influence decision making. This would be a very interesting research to actually look into when it comes out. So thank you very much, Prof. We really appreciate your time, and we say thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. So in conclusion, Ogonna, do you have any other inputs or any other thing you would want to say? Okay, when he says no, so without further ado, I want to say one more time, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much, Prof, for giving us this lecture. Thank you also, Ogonna, you're the man behind the technical team, for organizing everything technical and making sure that everything works seamlessly. And if we don't have any other feedback coming in, I want to say a very lovely evening to each and every one of you, or a very lovely afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. And we will see you in the next seminar. Have a wonderful day.